Hello and welcome to the Capgemini Super Techies show on ET Now. This is India's first reality TV series for IT professionals, and it's a platform where they get a chance to exhibit their tech talent to the world. Let's find out if this week we're indeed going to find our Super Techie. I'm your host, Abhimanyu Radhakrishnan. Now, in every episode, we have three teams battling it out for a place in the grand final. These three teams are among 21 that were selected in a fairly grueling pan-India process, and one of them will become our grand champion, the Super Techie, and walk away with a cool 10 lakh rupees. So we wish them all the best. Let me introduce our jury for today's episode. We have Rajeev Jorapur, who's the General Manager IT at Mercedes-Benz India. He's, of course, the man who has designed today's challenge for our contestants. And joining him to evaluate the solutions are Dr. Nilay Yajnik, who's Professor and Chairman of the Information Technology Department at Narsi Munji Institute of Management Studies, and Ron Toledo, who's CTO for Continental Europe at Capgemini. Thanks so much for joining us on the show, gentlemen. Anyway, let's get the ball rolling on our very first round. We call it the challenge. Let's quickly get our viewers up to speed. The challenge was presented to our teams at the swanky Mercedes headquarters in Pune a week ago, during which they got to understand the challenge and work on a solution thereafter. Let's quickly introduce our three teams with a small audio visual, which also shows a sneak peek at their interaction with Rajeev Jorapur.
Hi, I'm Saurav. Hi, I'm Harsha.
Hi, this is Umesh Tiwari.
I'm Ashish Mishra.
Hi, my name is Gajanan Pujari.
Hi, my name is Parag Kulkarni. We are here at Mercedes-Benz plant in Chakan. I think this is going to be really interesting to put your technical strength on test.
In terms of the challenge, I have absolutely no idea what it is.
The guess I can make is there should be some really current business problems.
Some of these challenges could be in the mobility space.
Somehow I think that it might have to do with mobile phones during a Grand Prix interacting with Mercedes team.
Welcome to Mercedes-Benz India, Pune. I am Rajeev Jorapur, Head of Information Technology here. I'm very excited driving this SLK, and I'm equally excited at this challenge. We hope at the end of this challenge to have really fascinating experience to our customers going ahead. Would you be interested to see what the future of technology looks like? What I would like you to do is to wear your glass-ons. It gives you a brief audio visual of our research vehicle, which we call as the F125. And then we step into the challenge. How can you deliver such a fascinating experience that all of you had traveling here to customers who are located far away from where we are? That is the overarching challenge for you. You have to think out of the box. You are technologists, so you know what technology can do. The challenge is to place it in context of the vehicle, place it in context of the customer, and see how you can really leverage all these technologies to deliver what we want to. So how do we satisfy this need for information proactively? As Mercedes-Benz, we have always prided ourselves on being pioneers. The challenge is to think something which is made by today's standards not possible, but by future standards would be normal. So that's the challenge.
Well, a challenge indeed. Our three teams, the Java Jokers, Illuminati, and Tektrons. Let's have a round of applause for them, please. Guys, what was the experience like going to the Mercedes-Benz plant and getting that really futuristic look at their next-gen car?
It was really awesome. I mean, we looked at the F125 and we actually drove through SLK 350 with Mr. Rajiv, and it was simply amazing to look at the cockpit-style control panels and the interiors.
Right.
We couldn't imagine before.
Right. Putting on those virtual reality glasses, you already got a taste of high tech. Now you have to improve on that.
Looking at those cars, it's literally a pinnacle of technology. So coming up with something that matches that is going to be a tough thing for us.
Okay, you guys have had only a week to put this together, and you're doing your full-time jobs as well. Difficult doing it so quickly?
Yeah, definitely. But I think the video was pretty inspiring, so that gave us the energy to go through with it.
Okay, so they only had a week to prepare their solutions, but they did have some help in the form of a mentor from Capgemini India. It was Vishal Gupta, and let's see what he has to say about his experience in grooming these three teams.
Thanks, Abhimanyu. It has been an amazing experience working with these three creative teams on a challenge that was complex and futuristic. They have done a lot of research to find out what kind of technology will impact the customer experience landscape over the next 10 years. I'm very happy with their solution, and I hope the jury will also appreciate the same.
Well, so Vishal has given us a sneak peek at what to expect from these teams. It looks like it's going to be an exciting battle ahead. We'll come to you with that in just a short while. Stay tuned to ET Now for the Capgemini Super Techies show. Welcome back. You're watching the Capgemini Super Techies show on ET Now. This is where IT professionals get to prove their tech mettle on a national platform. We're going to go straight to our three teams here who are ready with the executive summaries of their solutions to the challenge that Rajeev posed to them earlier. We call this round the solution. Okay, in this round, the three teams will present their solutions to the jury and will be judged on 4 parameters. These are the problem comprehension, quality of the solution, adapting to alternatives, and the presentation itself. Java Jokers, you're our first team today. Whenever you're ready, you have the floor.
Hi, everybody. As we all know, Mercedes-Benz is not just an automotive company, but it's a luxury experience and a futuristic experience at that. So in order to take this futuristic experience, things like the F125, 3D visualization to the Indian market so that everybody can experience it, we realized that we needed to build an entire ecosystem and not just 1 or 2 components. So our ecosystem consists of 4 simple things. The first is social layering. Social today means Facebook and Twitter, but down the line we think that there are going to be a large number of other networks that overlap very well with the Mercedes-Benz demographic. Things like frequent flyer programs, 5-star hotel loyalty programs. So we want to layer social data from here on top of all other operation data to get a real social insight into what's going on in the customer's mind. The second part of this is taking the showroom into the future. Today's showrooms are bulky, huge spaces, lots of real physical vehicles. What can we do about it in the future? We look at it as a small, maybe 20 feet by 20 feet place where there's a little virtual car that you can test drive any model on, and this little screen where you can interact with the Mercedes-Benz sales personnel who can tell you exactly what you want because we've already done the social layering.
So imagine you are at the airport and you're flying off to a distant place. You see this amazing showroom out there in the center of the lobby. You reach up to the showroom, just swipe your boarding pass, and you're immediately engrossed in a very thrilling driving experience. While you're driving, the biometric data pulled out of your driving experience is used to enhance the whole experience.
We also look at the future of mobile, which we think is going to be 3D visualization, gesture interaction, and very, very personalized conversations. So here what we're envisaging is that people who are not Mercedes-Benz customers can actually interact with Mercedes-Benz models, customize it before they become a customer. And even once they're a customer, they can do all after-sales interactions using visual forms of communication. For any ecosystem to work well, the heart of it has to be strong. And we see an intelligence engine which pulls data from all these 3 components and gives real-time intelligence where it's needed. So for example, when a guy walks into an airport lounge, the salesperson immediately knows what this guy's demographic is and whether he's more likely to take a C-Class or an SLK or maybe even the F125. And in terms of business value, we think this is really strong. When you think of putting it in an airport, India today has 10 million domestic passengers every month. Think of 5-star hotels. There are like 50,000 hotel rooms all over India, and this is considered a very, very low percentage for a country like India. And we think this is the way in which Mercedes-Benz brand and experience can be taken to all tier 2, tier 3 cities and everybody who feels like driving a Mercedes-Benz.
Thank you so much. So Java Jokers, let's have a round of applause for their executive summary. Okay, Illuminati, do you have a question?
How do you integrate the biometric system into the complete system that you propose?
Rajeev, should we admit that? Is it fairly straightforward as to how biometrics get done, or would you like to hear them flesh it out a little bit?
I think it's a relevant question.
Java Jokers?
So when we talk about the virtual driving experience, so this guy is sitting in a car that has real leather seats, but the entire surrounding experience is virtual. So for example, things like pulse rate, right? Or things like body surface temperature. These can be measured very easily when a person is sitting on a device, right?
Fair enough. Java Jokers, you answered the Illuminati's question. Tektrons, do you have something to pose?
It's fine to deliver the experience in different fashions to the customer, but how do you actually enhance that customer going forward, enhance that experience going forward?
Nilayajnik, valid that first time you can wow the customer, but does it always work?
It's quite valid because how do you plan to extend this concept is a very relevant question.
Do you have an answer, Java Jokers?
At one level, I think the concept is essentially virtualizing the Mercedes-Benz driving experience. So maybe it's also a product question in one sense. I mean, maybe the first time you drive a Mercedes-Benz is a wow experience. How do you make it wow a second time?
Okay, great. So, well done, guys. The next team to present our Illuminati. Your time begins.
The way we think is that current trend, the business trend that is going on, is to do a target-based, high-level segmentation profiling and marketing based on that. But what we suggest is that since the technologies like non-linear IPTV is coming, the current advertisements which are just one-way communication will not work. What we have to create is open-ended gaming world like advertisements, where a person can experience the product any which way they want. In this case, there will be an intelligence engine running in backend that will take this data and keep on giving more product specifications based on the customer's experience. So it's like any game that you play. More you have experience, more level of complexity increases. Similarly, you will get more and more experience on the product. At any point, you can also contact the dealer that you are really interested in the deal. But this engine should not stop at this point. All this data that we have collected, we should be running event stream analytics on top of that to predict the behavior of customer in future and come up with something like what is the propensity of purchase of this customer. All of this data should be passed on to your dealer. So when a customer enters to a dealer shop, dealers knows what deal to offer, what will the customer experience should be, what will be the right quality, and even the coffee offered to the customer is based on the profile itself. All across the country, dealer network experience should not break. What should happen is if a person is once taking servicing in one city and goes to another city, the experience remains same. System should be able to handle that.
We propose a system, we call it distributed intelligence system. This engine has two basic main engines. One is enterprise intelligence engine. This engine is connected to the enterprise systems like ERP operation systems. And then the other type of engine that we propose in the system is the distributed engines. These distributed engines actually interfaces with all the various customer touch points like smart devices, websites, and dealer. So the whole system ensures the integration between the dealer network and enterprise systems and the customer touch points.
The roadmap that we offer for this is first thing we have to build is enterprise intelligence engine. To that, we have to create not only our good data warehouse, but what we need is integration of big data, the social media data into that. What we need is solid time series forecasting. We need very solid platform for the customer behavior analytics. On top of that, to create the customer experience intelligence, what we need is good algorithms for event stream processing, and we need to interact all of them with the gamified interactive communication systems.
Tektrons and Java Jokers, whether you have some questions to put to the Illuminati?
So one key point that I noted in their solution was the uses of in-memory and in-memory computing in their solution that you presented. And what I did not understand completely was how that is actually relevant for the customer experience delivery and where it's exactly being used.
Rajeev, you want to admit that question?
Technology for itself is not the theme here. We need to relate the capabilities of technology to the type of experience that we would like to give to our customers.
Right, so the question has been admitted. Illuminati, do you want to respond?
So when we say in-memory analytics, what we mean by that is, the case we gave, if you created a gamified interaction, in that interaction, when a person picks a choice, at that time, engine has to be able to do a real-time analytics to give what next to be offered. Since this is all happening at the customer's perspective, you do not have a lot of time. So you cannot run the traditional analytics which happens now that runs on bigger history of data. You have to run it at that platform, and that's where in-memory analytics comes in picture.
Okay, Java Jokers, do you have a question?
So you talked a lot about game mechanics and how the engine works to give a better customer experience. But right at the beginning, you talked about two-way communication. However, at least for us, it was not very clear. I mean, there was one part about interactive TV, but you said about increasingly complex interactions. So do you have anything in mind, and would that necessitate further technological developments on the part of Mercedes-Benz?
Ron, do you want to admit that question? Were you clear on the use of the interactive TV and two-way communication?
Well, it's clearly a perspective that you have described so far, which is very much from, let's say, the solution. And let's reverse it a little bit and think a little bit about the other side of the channel and what would it look like. So that's a good question, I guess.
Yeah, Illuminati?
I'd like to take an example of current IPTV. In IPTV, you have the return path available, where whatever interaction, the interactive TV you run on, goes back to the channel providers, and they can actually do analytics on that. So we are talking about something similar mechanism, where the Mercedes-Benz itself owns the advertisement, so you get the data back, and you should be able to analyze on that.
Right, thanks for that, Illuminati. Our final team to make their presentation of their solution are Tektrons. Whenever you're ready, to the jury.
Imagine Mr. Joshi, who is a senior level manager in a company, is going out for lunch with his family. He gets a pop-up on his mobile phone saying that he can look through the virtual retail console and look at the futuristic Mercedes-Benz cars that are coming up. At the same time, his kid is also looking at the same display, but he's getting a different kind of experience altogether that have much more gaming technologies inside the car available for its occupants, because the kid is not going to be a driver, he's going to be an occupant of the car. So the retail console takes care of preferences of both the dad as well as the kid, and we envision 4 parts of this Mercedes Mission Control Center. The first part basically is the customer focus center, which engages with the customer actively through a variety of social networks, variety of specialized social networks that we want to seed. The next step is to identify the customer at various touch points. We imagine a center called Customer Experience Delivery Center, who is actually in the business of delivering the right experience to the customer based on the preferences that were identified earlier. Is the Customer Intelligence Center, which is focused on measuring the experiences that are delivered across all these channels to all the customers.
And all this can be possible through something called a high performance computing cluster platform, which has to be a very rock solid platform having huge amount of data processing capacity, wherein the analytics server will process all this data, come up with the right customer preferences at the right time, and be able to ready for these virtual consoles, which are going to detect the customer and then query the kind of data that has been already processed by the analytics engine.
Java Jokers and Illuminati, if you have a question to Tektrons.
Do you see this as scaling to a large number of tier 3, tier 4 cities?
Ron, do you want to allow that question to go through?
I think it's a relevant question, yeah.
Yeah, Tektrons, you want to answer that?
Again, what we are projecting is next 10 to 15 years into our tier 2 and 3 cities, wherein the usage of social media and mobile technology is going to be anyway on the high rise. So we would have already identified a set of large number of high net worth individuals in those cities.
Yes, well, of course, though it's a well-known fact that many of Mercedes' customers are not necessarily even in the metros or the tier 1 cities. We've heard of the stories of Jorapur and Ludhiana. So anyway, great cross-questioning by all teams. And now I would request our jury members to put down their scores on the 4 parameters. The 4 are problem comprehension, quality of the solution, adapting to alternatives, especially in the Q&A round, and the presentation itself. Gentlemen, all yours. Well, the judges have locked down their scores. Can we have them on the screen, please? Let's take a look at who's in the lead. Well, it is a close contest. Illuminati at 48, the Java Jokers at 56. And just about edging them out are Tektrons at 58. So it looks like this is going to be a close contest. Don't forget, there is one more round. It can swing the score by up to 25 points, and it will decide the winner of today's challenge. But all that and more coming up after a short commercial break. You're watching the Capgemini Super Techies show. Stay tuned to ET Now. Welcome back. You're watching the Capgemini Super Techies show, the hunt for India's top IT professionals. So far, we've got Team Tektrons just about edging the Java Jokers and Illuminati a little behind. But that lead is only of 2 points. Can the Tektrons hang on to it? Let's find out if they can in our last round. We call it the verdict. Now in this round, the judges who have gone in depth into those presentations earlier as well will quiz the teams individually over specific parts of their presentation and then mark them on that final parameter, which is the feasibility of the solution. Professor Yagnik, I'm letting you go first.
I'd like to ask a question to all of you. How do you plan to use technology to enable much better preventive maintenance?
We believe that part of the solution is already with Mercedes-Benz because they have this fantastic system called MRS 2. What we plan to do as part of our solution is connect that MRS 2 platform with our Mercedes Vision Control Center so that every time an anomaly is detected in the car, our Mercedes Control Center will already know that, which will route it to the retail consultants and the service virtual service assistants, which will have an immediate callback mechanism or any warning mechanism that can be routed back to the customer at the right time.
Illuminati, you want to answer that?
We take preventive maintenance not only of the car itself, but we think that chance of a customer going also is part of it. So you have to manage the customer experience so that customer doesn't go out of just technical faults, but it might go out of because of your services. So if in a locality you have seen a trend that just because of a seating of a car not being right, people have not liked it, you can do it beforehand and give that service to customer before.
Java Jokers?
So there are a couple of things here. First up, Mercedes-Benz going forward is obviously having all their car data on the cloud, and the Mercedes-Benz engineers know best, at what critical points preventive maintenance must be undertaken. There are two other key points. One is, can you manage your dealership so that when that car is taken for preventive maintenance, there is another car right there available at that time. And the other thing is an intelligent system that works on the basis of local patterns.
As the car is always on the cloud, so any glitch, let's say the acceleration graph doesn't look well, right? So the system can easily detect, okay, this is a problem out there. And if it's fixable by software, the software patch can be directly pushed out, or otherwise the car can be just called in to be serviced in the nearest service center.
Ron, you want to have a go at any of the teams?
You know, what I think is striking if you think about buying a car, particularly a Mercedes, is it's an emotional thing, right? My question is, how does all that data stuff help you to actually get the emotion that is needed to make that final decision? Let's start with Illuminati.
So when you enter the dealer, it will be an experience for you, like you are the king, because we know you. We are going to treat you like the way you want it. In virtual world, the way you handled your car. In virtual world, maybe you have done some other treatments for your car, you have accessorized it. All of that will be given you as a demo ride. So it's not be a demo ride created for just everyone. It's created for you and you only. You are the king there.
Okay.
Tectrons?
Basically, so we are trying to find out the anomalies in the data itself. So trying to differentiate between the preference and the emotions that we have captured, and even use that in our customer intelligence center to make a final conclusion about the customer, because the conclusion that you make will be the path to deliver the next experience to him.
Rajeev, any specific questions for teams that you'd like to put?
What I would like to do is to ask one specific question to each team. So let me start with Java Jokers. A specific topic that you said was sixth sense, or this technology where you would make an impact. So can you briefly tell me how this would bring a fascinating experience to a customer?
So one of the things that we see, the flight industry is really taking off, and because they travel on flights, they're probably potential targets, and they have nothing to do. They could have a really awesome experience, for example, trying to figure out what's the best kind of Mercedes suited to them. Maybe they could play games around that interactive system. Even better, maybe they could play a social game inside the flight. Who can design the best Mercedes-Benz inside this flight today?
Now to Illuminati. I think you came very close to the emotion part. You talked of games. Can you think of a game which will bring the type of experience that you had when you sat on a real car, which will enable millions of people all over without having access to a physical car?
Currently, you have very advanced series of NFS games coming out, where it's just about racing. But if we can make it completely specific to Mercedes, where different models are available, and every model is for different purpose. So you can actually live the experience of Mercedes, and out of that, then you can choose in your situation what you think is the perfect fit. I can change my mood, I can drive whatever, but finally I can even customize my needs. So I can, at the end of the day, even if I drive a sports car, but I'm a person who's going to drive always in city, I can actually experience it and know what is best for me.
Something for Tectrons?
What I would like to ask you is, you've used words like engage the customer. Tell me one instance of how your solution, how you look from a use case where you are talking of a real engagement with an Indian customer.
One network that me and Parag quickly thought about was a network for doctors. Like typically high-end doctors in India have a desire to buy Mercedes-Benz cars. If we can imagine an ecosystem where doctors can interact with each other, so that could give a real professional value to the doctor's network, and we can build out this network, and one doctor will refer another doctor for buying a Mercedes-Benz car because they will see the value that brings in their professional value. We believe if a doctor is driving and he's getting information before he reaches the hospital, the Mercedes-Benz car will enable him to basically, so he'll basically simply amazed by the information that he has access to by the time he reaches to the hospital itself.
Okay, well, the grilling of the teams is done. May I now ask the jury yet again to deliberate one final time and put in the scores on that last parameter, the feasibility of the solution. They've already grilled our three teams quite a bit, and we had a CIO on the show who was very forthright. Now, gentlemen, the hard part, the final parameter. Well, and after a lot of deliberating, the judges seem to have locked down the final scores. Let's have them on the tally if we can. And it seems as if Tektrons have managed to hang on to their first round lead of just 2 points, pipping the Java Jokers and the Illuminati finishing with 66. Let's have a round of applause for our winners. Congratulations. That's a wrap on this episode of the Capgemini Super Techies show. Tektrons has made it to the global leaderboard that we call our motherboard, and it ranks all the episodic winners from which the top 3 will finally make it. Will Tektrons stay in that top 3? That's something we'll know as we come along in this series over the next few weeks. But for all the teams here, there is a gift hamper from IBM. Our winning team today gets a great product called the iOmega Store Center iX2 200, the cloud edition from EMC. EMC is also a global partner of Capgemini and is a technology major which helps organizations to store, manage, protect, and analyze their most valuable asset, that is information, in a more agile, trusted, and cost-efficient way. So congratulations once again to all the teams. So well, this contest is getting exciting. Until next week, it's goodbye from all of us at the Capgemini Super Techies show. Keep watching TV.